Hello everyone, and as you can see, I am now in better shape and have a better background, and I don't have any oxygen attached to me. So I will try my best to make this as interesting and heartfelt as much as possible. Um, I have put together a rough draft for my speech, but I'm going to try very hard from time to time not to look like I'm reading directly off of it. The reason why I say that is because I have PTSD. And one of the things that I would say inherit, but one of the things that happened to me along with getting my PTSD is something called TBI, which is traumatic brain injury. And with that, I have memory loss at times. So if it looks like I'm reading from something, I probably am, but it's only because I need to look and see and try and remember what I'm talking about. Even though this subject that we're talking about in my speech is something that means so much to me, and it's so very near and dear. Okay? Even though it seems like there may be a lot of information out there dealing with people who have PTSD, I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. This is combat-related PTSD, which is kind of in a different category or a different field than your other types of PTSD. Yes, I know they all kind of fall under the same umbrella, but it's been noted and documented that combat PTSD is a lot different than, say, a car accident or a natural disaster or something of that nature. So there is a difference in combat PTSD and regular PTSD. It doesn't mean that just because there's not information out there that it's not out there. There is, but it seems like for a lot of people that information is not given to them. They are missing this piece of information that they need to help them deal with a family member, whether it be a mom or dad, that has been deployed to a combat zone. And not a lot of people that are at home are given this type of information. And that is what's so gut-wrenching and aggravating, to see that these people who need this aren't getting it. And it's not fair. Not fair at all. Because everybody's going through an adjustment period. And that when the military member, when they come back from being deployed, are going through a transition of coming out of something that was dangerous to something that's non-dangerous, and they're not understanding, or we know that it's safe, but there's parts of our brains that doesn't make it feel safe, and we have memory reoccurrences and relapses and things like this that make it where we don't feel that safe, even though we are. And then in return, it's also something that is a judgment period for the non-military member, the family, the spouse, the children, all these people play a big role into what happens around the house, everyday life, just different things. Um, I know one thing that it seems to me that is left out is the children. The children seem to be left out from this PTSD aspect of um, how much does it deal with them, or they don't get to see, they don't understand or see much of it because it's all hidden and whatnot. Well, nowadays, not really. The children do see it. They do feel it. They absorb it so much. It's scary. And the things that can happen, I know because the things that I put my kids through at one point or another is not fair. And yet there aren't things out there that talk about this stuff to family members, how to help each other. And it's not out there, and it's very aggravating. There needs to be more support groups for family members. Most of it, a lot of it would be good if they could, if now granted excuse me, granted there already may be some out there and I just don't know about it, and that's okay, no big deal. But I think that from the get-go there needs to be a support group within the unit itself. So this way, if there is issues or whatnot, they can all sit down and brainstorm and talk this out. And there may be other women or men that are in this group that have already been through these kinds of experiences and knows how to help, how to give pointers and ideas and synopsis or whatever the case may be to these other family members who have never been through this, who have got no idea what it's like. All they know is that they're scared. They don't know what to expect. They've heard war stories before. They've heard things from their grandfather or their parent or from their father from Vietnam, things like this. So they hear a lot of these things that may or may not even happen. But they don't know because they're going through this themselves. So they don't know. There are things that this comes from an article from AAETC.org. And what it is that nobody really knows what happens or what the signs are along the way. They just know they show themselves pretty quickly, and so quick that the other parent needs to make sure they have a plan in action. Have something ready in case something does happen. You want to make sure that you are prepared for whatever is thrown at you. You have a backup plan. You know what's going on. You know what you're doing. And that don't be caught blindsided by any means. Because if you are, you're already behind the 8 ball. And by that, you lose. You are losing ground. And you don't need that. You are the foundation. The parent that doesn't get deployed is the foundation of keeping things together when the other parent is going through a rough period in that. I mean, and yeah, like I said, there are things out there There's VAs, there's the, of course everybody knows that. There's vet centers, or some people may or may not know about that, and there's other little social things that are out there, even into private practice. But unless these things are kind of pointed out to other people, they're not going to know to look there. They're not going to know that there is outlets, there's resources, there is anything possible at their grasp if somebody just tells them about it. I guarantee you a lot of people, it's like, well, no one ever told me this. Why not? What are we so afraid of to let the other person know? Nothing. Nothing. Now, some of the things that that do happen, that I've experienced myself, and that other veterans may or may not experience, because not all veterans go through or diagnosed with PTSD. And even though they may have been in a combat zone, they may not have experienced it like a lot of other people have. And that's really hard to differentiate, something like that, to tell, because it depends on your job in the military. How about that? A desk clerk, and no offense to any desk clerks, but to a desk clerk, they can be stationed in a combat zone and have some of the issues, like they make you get mortared or whatnot, and that's probably be about a lot of the extent, maybe occasional a threat of somebody coming through the gate or something like that, but most of the time it's stopped before it even gets to that far into the building, majority of the times, versus somebody that's frontline, that sees it, that deals with it, that hears it, that sees, tastes, eats, sleeps, you name it. They deal with it on a daily basis. And then when they get back, some of the things that other people may be able to look for is reoccurring symptoms, a dream, reaction, things that are repetitive in a sense. Avoidance. They will avoid certain people, certain crowds, certain areas. It may be a while before they even want to do anything, and that's okay. But people have got to understand that. They need to see that it takes an adjustment period. Even though they try to jump back into it, it still takes an adjustment period, no matter how you look at it. Hyperarousal, startle, jumpy. By all means, that is one of the worst things out there for someone dealing with PTSD to deal with, is hyperarousal. Being scared, being petrified, not knowing, fear of the unknown. Even though you walk to your mailbox every single day. You know nothing's going to happen. You know nothing's going to jump out. But to someone like me or another veteran, it's a different story, because there's something that may jump out. There may be something that's new that's sitting off to the side, or there may be somebody parked a certain way, and guess what? That's going to set them off. They're going to know something's up because something is not right. Something doesn't look right, and that's hyperarousal. And if you want to find out a little bit more and in depth on things like this, another site that I found And this was about, this is called PTSD, about.com. And it's PTSD family, or backslash PTSD family. Another thing, visa you need to leave. That, wow, there's a lot. Here you go. Bottom line, I don't have a PhD. I don't have an MD. What I have is real world experience. And my real world experience is things that can help people like you out there. It can keep your family together, not tear them apart. It will help you build a better relationship. You need to work together. Even if one parent doesn't, don't give up. That is the last thing any of them need, especially the kids. You don't want to see the kids go through this, because they will, and they can inherit, or not inherit, but they can get secondary PTSD, and that is not cool. It's not. So let's do our best. Put it into it, or try. Now I want to say put it into this, because it's never going to end. Let's put up some help. Let's put up that helping hand, that guidance, that knowledge that some of us may have accepted. Listen to it. Use it. And by all means, one thing, and even a lot of times today, I still deal with this, don't give up on your faith. Because that's the biggest thing that this combat PTSD will do to you, is you will rethink, you will re-guess, second-guess everything that you know about the Bible, everything you know about humanity. You'll think about it twice, 3 times, 4 times. So be careful. Don't give up. God bless. Godspeed.